So, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. Just been deep in the LLM stuff and all of that.
And you
Oh,
must
it's
be
been
get,
interesting.
and you must be getting kind of like all geared up for Affiliate Summit East.
Yes, actually. We're finalizing all of our travel stuff now. I'm actually speaking at Mailcon. So I have a session there so that we can, I think, I'm trying to remember what the exact title was, but basically I'm going over how humans can use AI and not just get replaced by AI when it comes to marketing. Especially right now, everyone's like, oh my God, doomsday, everything's going and everyone's going to lose their jobs and everything. It's like, yeah, great. But first, you're going to lose your job to the dude that's using the tools. Then you're going to lose it to the tools. So, like, let's at least try to make it work now.
So, Mailcon, I'm going to take my glasses off. So,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Mailcon is an interesting kind of event. I mean, it's been around for a while. What's the difference between a Mailcon, a Mailer Meetup, and Affiliate Summit for those people that kind of like
Oh,
thinking of going to one or two or whatever? I mean,
so that is actually a great, not easily answered question, but I'm going to try anyway. So picture affiliate summit like SMX or PubCon or anything like that, right? Like big conference floor with an exhibit hall. Like,
you've gone, you muted again. This is crazy. I can't believe it. This is just insane. The technology is taking over the world. No,
like the whole nine conference.
there we go. There we go. No, gone again. So we could be experiencing the shortest episode ever of a podcast.
All right, how about now?
Yes, now is fine.
All right, great. I got about 45 seconds before it dies again. So, Affiliate Summit, convention, conference, the standard one. You get a ticket, you go, there's a company list, like the normal type of SMX or style conference like that. But what you normally will see is you'll see a couple brands that attend, a lot more brands will usually exhibit. And they'll be the ones that, and they're not exhibiting their product really, unless they're like an ancillary product within the industry, but it's mainly like affiliate networks, advertisers, traffic sources, chargeback prevention and compliance tools, stuff like that. Then you work your way down a little bit. And I like to usually say the less official it is, the better information you're going to get, just in general, if that's your goal. Mine usually nowadays is networking and just making connections with people that I usually work with.
Because
But
combination of meeting people that you already know and meeting new people. And I've always kind of said,
so
like, you got to do both, right? I mean, some people go, I'm going to go look for new business. And I think that they're missing a major opportunity of having most of the people that they may work with all in one place at the same time.
100%. And that is, and this is what I like to point out whenever, because I used to be way back in the day, Affiliate Summit had a program with Affiliate Summit mentors. And one of the thing was, is I tried to be a mentor for someone new that was coming in. And the whole goal was you only got paired with people that have never been at all. Like they're not even with a company that's ever been. And that really showed me a lot about not just like, it's not that they're new. It's that they're new to Affiliate Summit. It's not that they're new to traffic or anything. My guy was a 25-year veteran. Like he wasn't ever an affiliate, but you know what he was doing? Promoting affiliate stuff on non-affiliate channels through his employer. And I'm like, so you've just been making him money this entire time. And he's like, well, yeah, but I didn't know this was a thing. I introduced him to like 4 people. Now he runs a shop with 30 employees. So
It's
like
quite interesting, like you talking about that, because I think so many people are actually affiliates and don't even think of themselves as affiliates.
oh,
Right? So again,
oh,
if you look at
100%.
in travel, I mean, I worked in travel for a long time, right? And people like Expedia and like Kayak and everything, they
Booking.com.
are basically affiliates. They don't own the hotels. They are just selling the rooms on behalf of the hotel chains and getting a commission for percentage of the booking value, right? And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
that's the affiliate marketing model, right? to a T.
That literally is what it is. And that's what those guys are. So like, and there's a difference between a company that is based on affiliate and one that leverages affiliate, right? So like a store that has physical, like actual physical locations and sells like clothing, right? They're not based on affiliate, but they can have affiliates sell their products, whether it's in person or it's there. This show is how you find people like that. Even if you don't go, look at people talking that were there. Oh, I met with so-and-so. I met with so-and-so. The biggest thing after a show like that, especially the corporate aspect, and I'm not saying Affiliate Summit is one of those, but it is more than the others, is you'll see a lot of like, it was great, like LinkedIn posts. It was great to catch up with my friends at tag, 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 tag. And I'm like, great. So now I know that this person works with those people. But if I see someone in that list I know, I hit him up and I'm like, so this guy, yes, no, should I work with them? Should I not? That right there is what the affiliate model is as a community when you are not just trying to screw people over 24/7.
Because
I have
I
people.
think that the challenge I've always had is like like with Affiliate Summit, you've got the meat market, which is a complete
Yep.
crazy kind of,
Oh yeah.
it's just crazy is the only way I can describe it. And then you
Mhm.
have the kind of the normal sort of trade show floor, right, where people have big booths and whatever else, right? Meat market, it started off, it was supposed to be just a table with two people, two chairs, and
Yep.
maybe a
Now
small
it's a
pop up.
mob.
Now it's like it's gone completely bonkers, right?
So
But the problem that you have is that a lot of people kind of turn up at the kind of the meat market and they just kind of walk up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And I think for me, it's like if you are an affiliate, right, there's certain companies that you should make a beeline. You should have a list of the people that you want to go. You should know exactly what table they're at and make a beeline to go and talk to them before you talk to anyone else, because everyone else is going to try and pimp their stuff on you. They're going to try and sell you things that you don't want. They're
oh
going to go,
yeah.
hey, you do traffic. I want your traffic. It's like, well, I only do traffic in this vertical and you're in that vertical.
Yep.
And where there's no synergy, right? So I think you need to kind of make sure that you've got probably 75% of what you're going to do planned in advance, and the other 25 can be ad hoc and you can meet other people kind of on the fly. But I think what's quite interesting is a lot of people that exhibit at the meat market now do so at the detriment of not having a booth, right? They used to have a booth and now they go, I'm just going to have the meat market and then
So
do 2 days of
it
networking.
it really depends. And this is, and again, I know I'm trying not to say anything that people will, let's say, take the wrong way. I'm not saying in any way that the exhibit hall is not worth it. It is 100%. But depending on where you are in your journey, sometimes the exhibit hall is just going to be a waste of time. And what I mean by that is that if I know what I want and I know what I need, and that ain't in the exhibit hall, I probably won't go to the exhibit hall.
Yeah, because
But
I
the
think
meat,
what was really interesting for me is like I remember walking both the meat market and the exhibit hall and talking to kind of people towards the tail end of the third day, right? Usually by
oh
then,
yeah,
everyone's lost the will to live. And you talk to them
yeah,
and you
zombie
kind of
mode.
say, well, how's the show been? Right. And they go, well, in all honesty, I mean, we didn't want to come, but we knew if we didn't have a presence here, people would assume that we're in trouble. Right. So all the people
And
that they met, they were going to meet anyway. A lot of people just kind of go and sit on the booth and hang out and maybe drink a couple of beers that they have in a cooler or whatever, right? And that's kind of like their experience. Those are people that they know anyway, right? And again, sometimes it's just good to press the flesh, say hello to people,
oh yeah,
give them a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a hat or whatever it is, swag them up and send them off and everything
oh yeah.
else. But it is a challenge, right? And I'm always amazed at how many brands have got a presence there, and there's people stood there, they're on their phones, they've got their back to everyone, they're not kind of paying any attention to kind of who's walking by. I mean, the thing I really like about Affiliate Summit as a show is they color code all the lanyards to show who the networks, who are the affiliates, who are the traffic
Yep.
providers, and really, I mean, if you are an affiliate and you're looking for advertisers, you should zone and hone in on just the color that the advertisers are represented by, and probably not talk to anyone else. Maybe talk to affiliates as well to kind of see what they're up to and everything else, right? But just again, you want to make a beeline for those people, right? Because then that way you're only talking to the people that you know will be of value to your business
Oh yeah.
as you kind of try and grow it.
And this is the other part about that too. Don't turn people off because they don't fit what you are currently doing, but be very realistic about what you are going to or not get into in the future, at least as of right now. Like if you're like, I never want to get into X, then that's fine. But like if the dude you're talking to is just being an a-hole, like literally, and you're just like, I'm never going to do business with you ever. And also, I don't even see a possibility of having you as a friend. So like, why are we talking right now? Like that is, for me, I'm always it's not that we can't do business. It's that we can't do business right now. I might change my industry. You might change yours. You might change companies. You might change this. That has been my thing literally since I started is I don't care where you are. I don't care what you do. I want to help you do X, Y, and Z if I can. I want to help you. If I have friends looking for something, right? I only lose by not introing them because people say, well, why don't you broker and take money? That's great. And sometimes I will. But other times it just doesn't work with that spread in. And it just is something where they don't understand because of the compounding aspect, right? So different deal, different criteria, different setup, but also timing is the most important. Just because you're doing this doesn't mean, again, you won't be in that later or you won't be in this. The amount of people that realize that they've been getting data for a specific industry or niche that they are monetizing, and then they find out that they could have made 4 times the amount with the exact same traffic, just with a different offer, is nuts. Once you target the right people. Because you go through the nice little wave of emotions, right? I've got volume. It's great. Oh my God, it's converting. Oh, we might actually lose it a little bit. And then all of a sudden you get to the next one. You're like, it's break even, but I put in so much work. And then you put in another one. You're like, now I'm profitable. What the heck is happening? So it's that. But those stories, you aren't going to read online because people don't want it in writing. And they're not going to tell you how they solved it, because that gives a potential competitor an advantage. And people will say, well, there's a lot of competitors. Does not matter. Because I know one guy that considers 400 people his competitor, and I know the 400 people that know the one guy is their competitor. It does not matter of scale when you have the ability to do 10,000 people's worth of work as one person. So when you're buying on Google Ads, it's not the same as placing newspaper ads. Like, yeah, you're limited by geo on that, but so am I.
And a lot of the people that are the best kind of at what they do are the least talkative, and
Yep.
they're not secretive, right? But they're not very outgoing and gregarious. So sometimes they kind of just slide under the radar and nobody kind of knows what they're up to, right? Until you get them kind of in a bar, have a couple of drinks, and then all of a sudden they tell you the sort of numbers that they're doing. You're like, wow, this is amazing, right? That they're doing that kind of volume.
So I don't think I've ever actually said this, but that exactly is my approach. And that's why my approach works so well. And I'm saying this like I do it methodically to take advantage of people. Like I don't. Like it's literally just I talk a lot, as you all can see, and I talk fast. But I can say a lot without giving up the actual secret of what I'm talking about. But I can give enough that if you know what you're doing, you can connect the dots. So I just talk and see how people react. I don't care what they say. I just want to see how they react. And there's always the one guy or girl. There's always the one person that literally is like 5 feet back. And you're like, are they listening to us? I'm not really sure. And then you say that last part and they go like this. And you just go, come on over, man. So like, that's the kind of thing. But
again, I've always done that. Whenever I've been in a group of people talking, if there's somebody on the periphery, right, I always try and make sure I bring them into the conversation, because again, that's how this industry has evolved for me, right? I think it's one of the reasons. And like I said, sometimes the relationships, as you say, you may benefit
everything
financially from brokering deals and whatever else. People may pay you an introduction fee or whatever it might be. But if you go into it with that's the only thing you're going to do, then you'll lose out. I think it needs to be a nice, very pleasant bonus to get when it happens, but not necessarily should be the only way in which you conduct your business.
See,
and so many of the people. I mean, I always remember a friend of mine who used to throw great parties every time, and I used to turn up and basically said, Jim, you always turn up with a big entourage of people, right? And I'm like, well, I like kind of hanging out with people. And if I'm going somewhere, I want them to kind of come along and enjoy the same party that I'm going to enjoy.
Exactly.
And they would always go, yeah, that's fine. That's great. Bring them in, right? Because if they say they're with Jim, then they must be good people.
But that's the key. That's the key right there.
But I remember, like, at some point in time, I think probably 2 or 3 of the people that I brought along ended up, not at that time, but in the future, landing great jobs. And because of that, the person who ran the parties, right, would benefit immensely from being able to pick up a program because they remembered being invited to the party, they remember not being on the guest list, remember coming
Yep.
in, right, and it was and so for me it's very much a case of it is really about the people that you have in your sort of circle of friends and who you can kind of bring into the circle. Because again, everyone turns up to an event. I mean, I used to like that sort of mentor mentee sort of situation.
Yep.
Because again, sometimes it's good to have somebody that can kind of steer you and guide you kind of down the sort of the
Yeah.
dodgy path that you kind of you face.
It saves you from yourself with testing.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I think it's always you got to get involved and you got to contribute. I mean, it's not just a case of, as you say, standing in the background making notes and writing stuff down and everything else, right? You've got to try and sort of contribute. And again, I think sometimes it's good to encourage other people into the conversation, right? So if somebody's sort of there and isn't saying much, like, Jim, what's your opinion on this? And see what they say. Because again, sometimes you're blown away by some of the stuff that they're doing. And you go, wow, I didn't realize that that's what they did, right? But then
Yep.
eventually it'll show that they're actually very, very good at what they do.
So let me actually take that example and ramp that right back into the conference example, because that is actually a perfect one. At Affiliate Summit, you will see me walking through the exhibit hall, talking to people, taking meetings, the normal stuff. I'm in business mode. I'll see friends, I'll have fun, we'll chill and whatever and set stuff up for later, but I'm in business mode. So I'm meeting to meeting, booth to booth, whatever it might be, depending on the use. Now let's go over Mailcon. So the concept of Mailcon, at least in my mind, I'm not going to speak on your behalf, Mailcon, but the concept of Mailcon was to have something that was, at least in my mind, more official-y, like conference-y, but still private enough that you would actually feel comfortable sharing some of the stuff that helps you with an advantage. But here's the key. And what you mentioned is, and this is, like you said, the main concept is, when I say relationships, I mean two things. I mean trust, and I mean the ability to know that when someone's telling you something, they're not guiding you the wrong way for another reason. And that goes into trust, but I separate it because those are two different things for me, because those can completely happen at the same time. So Mailcon is more of, if I'm in Affiliate Summit, I'm talking about, yeah, we might have some internal mail and media buying, and yeah, let's discuss running your stuff and taking a look and da-da-da-da-da-da, normal stuff. Mailcon, I'm like, okay, so you want health and wellness. We've got about 4 million people on that list right now, opener clickers past 90 days. Media buying, we're doing about XYZ. Like, I'll go into that, but like, I'm not going to tell you how I get my CPCs down. I'm not going to tell you how I get my email down. But the people I talk to at Mailcon that we go out to dinner with, I might tell them some of that, but it all wraps up into this. Is it a two-way street? And I don't mean money, and I don't mean concepts. I mean, do we both feel like we are both getting the same amount of value in whatever that may be out of this relationship? So if I'm giving you knowledge and you're giving me preferential treatment on X, Y, and Z, or a good payout or something, like, cool. If that's worth it to me, I'm not going to complain, and you're not going to complain, so we're good. But it's up to you to determine if it is worth it for you. Some people, information is not, only execution is. Speaking of execution, now let's go over the Mailer Meetup and their sister/partner company, the SMS Meetup, or I guess sister/partner Meetup, sorry. So this is, and to be very clear, these are my favorites. And I don't mean just these, although these are literally my favorites, but all of the kind of, these are affiliates that ended up doing something more official, aka they run a network, they run an offer, they run this, and either they run it themselves or they partner with others, and either they throw a party, which is usually like the multi-people and all that, or they throw a like mini little meetup, what they call meetup, and that's like a bunch of mailers, whatever. Here's the difference. To go to Affiliate Summit, you need to get a ticket. To go to Mailcon, you need to get a more expensive ticket and basically just not be person that shouldn't be there. Yep. To go to Mailer Meetup, you have to apply, get vetted, go on a phone call with the staff there. And then after that, they will actually ask around about the industry to verify that you are a mailer. Here's the kicker. You don't have to be a good one. You just have to be one that is actually mailing. As long as you're doing it, it doesn't matter. But if you're an AM that's like, I have an Aweber account, don't even try it. Because
But
if you try
I guess
that,
the challenge is like, I mean, I've been to a couple of mailer meetups in the past, right? And I was kind of like, I was mailing, but
Mhm.
I was kind of like moving away from it into other stuff,
Yep.
right? And because for me, I just hated every time I got like a spam house complaint, I would be like having anxiety attacks and I just couldn't cope with it. So I just said, okay, I don't want to do that. But again, it was, as you say, like you needed to have a vetting process and vetting interview. I just thought, wow, this is kind of really, again, to me, it seemed a bit clicky and like really kind of close, which I get the rationale behind it because
oh
if
yeah,
it is
yeah.
everyone's kind of opening up their kimonos and going, here's what I got and blah, blah,
Oh
blah.
yeah.
And I mean, I think when I went there, it was useful because there was people there that had like a hosting service company. So if you wanted like a class C, you could kind of get a class C
Oh yeah.
and all these sort of things that I think a lot of people, when they say, oh yeah, I'm a media buyer. It's right. And they go, I just buy traffic on Facebook. It's like, well, then you're not a media buyer, right? You're not in control of what's actually happening in terms of the pricing and everything else. So it's like mailing, right? If you, as you say, if you've got an Aweber account or you mail from Klaviyo or whatever, like it's down to them as to whether they choose to accept you or not, right? The kind of the sort of volume of mail that high volume mailers do would never kind of go anywhere near an Aweber or,
Oh,
you know,
oh,
or anything like that.
completely. And but here's the kicker. They don't look at volume. They just look at your mailing. And that's the other part going again, full circle back to the relationships part. Mailer Meetup and SMS Meetup are run by the guys at Addicted Affiliate. They are a network. They've been around a very long time. I've known Steve and Jeff a very long time. The one thing I will give them credit for, and I want to be very clear, if they didn't do this, I would say it, especially here, because my reputation is worth more than that. But the one thing about them is they're very logical in two things. One, this is not a promotion for their network. This is a conference for information exchange and to help people not lose with bad vendors. So a lot of the conversations we will hear around there is like, oh, I'm trying to find an IP for I'm trying to get an IP provider. And someone's like, I'm thinking about going with someone. Isn't it so much better for someone to be like, don't do that. Just lost money with them. But do you know John? And then you just literally pull them over and you're like, I have like 600,000 IPs with him. So like with that stuff, nothing bridges let's call it the intersection of trust and the, let's call it timetable to getting a solution when you're at Mailer Meetup. Because I've literally had that with other people too, where they're talking about, oh, I can't do this and I can't inbox that. And I'm like, have you tried this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, go try it. And they're like, oh my God, it worked. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
because
it's,
that was that was always a challenge. Like when I was mailing, right, we had a sort of set offers that we used to run regularly. We'd run this one on a Monday, this one on a Tuesday, and so on and so on. And then people would go, "Hey, I got an offer. I want you to kind of mail it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what sort of CPMs are going to guarantee me, right?" Because they just assume that they would be a performance based model. You kind of get results for us. We'll pay you, and it's like. No, if I know that every single offer I've got, I'm guaranteed a certain amount of money, right, every time I press the send button, right? Because again, I've got overheads when I was mailing. You have the overheads of the technology, the platform, and everything else. And it was always kind of you had to sort of make sure that if you were mailing something, that one, you get in the inbox, two, you kind of ensure that the offer that you're mailing performs at a level that
oh yeah.
doesn't trigger these incremental spam house complaints and everything else. Right? I mean, if you sort of had a horrible offer that people had issues with, then sooner than you like, you're going to get spam house complaints through the level that just kind of takes you into blackballing and everything else. And for me, I just didn't want to kind of do that. When you say, well, I need you to kind of guarantee me a certain CPM, and people go, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, well, in that case, I'm not going to mail for you, right?
And there's a lot of those. Like there's a lot of like, I want you to just run CPA. And there are some mailers that literally they could take prepays. Like they could take like, oh, 10 to drop this on a CPM of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, great. But when I drop it to the same amount, I make 40. So it's like, so here's the fun part. You have to find out two things. One, and I'm going to say this because if anyone in the anti-spam community is actually going to watch this episode, I want to make this clear. Your data needs to be clean and it needs to know who you are. They need to actually understand that they are on your list, not that you signed up for a website 47 times removed, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, lending tree. But the main thing about this is that when you're doing these drops and you're doing the setup of these consumers and whatever else it might be, yes, you have internalized the channel, which is great. Now you have the liability of internalizing the channel. If you lose a Facebook account, oh no, you lost a Facebook account, right? Now you've lost what if you lost your business manager though? And your other one's under it. If you lose that, it's like losing an MCC with AdWords or Google Ads or whatever they're going to call it in 5 years from now. But like with that, it's like, you can take my AdWords account for a client. That's fine. Cause I can be like, he screwed up. This is him. He did this. Here's the proof, like blah, 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 blah. Right. But if you lose an MCC, your email's burned, your name is burned, your phone number's burned, your credit card is burned, like it's done. You are finished. So like with that, but that's still only Google products. With mail, imagine that literally there is no big 3 or big 2 in terms of where you can send from. There's just a lot of places. So a lot of people just do churn and burn method. And those are the guys that they'll just go and register and be like, hey, Weber can take it. And they'll send it out. And I'm just like, dude, like that is not a business model at all. And I was like, you literally make money by pissing people off. But the whole thing is that I never would have gotten to that level of understanding if I didn't go to the first mailer meetup. And that's the main thing is literally someone mentioned that to me just in passing. Like it was just common fucking knowledge. And I was just like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And then I took it back and I was like, there's no way this does this much of a difference. And then I did it and I was just like, how did I make 3 times the amount of money today? And how did he not charge me for that? And then I found something 6 months later. I gave it to him. He made all that back and more. And now we still talk once a week. I know his wife. I know his kids. Like this is not a day job type industry in my mind. This is
you said that before, and I completely agree. I mean, it is a it's a reciprocal business. You kind of you do good things for other people will do good things for you. You stiff people, then other people will eventually stiff you. Like because
you find out
there's
real
nowhere
quick.
There's nowhere to hide, right? I mean, I remember kind of walking around the Affiliate Summit West floor with one of my clients who lives in Utah, right? And basically, we were walking the floor because there was probably half a dozen payment processors on the floor who had withheld a crazy amount of their residuals, right? Just because they were worried about kind of fraud risk and everything else. So basically we were walking the floor to try and basically do some collections, right? Because they had no right to be withholding the amount of money for the length of time that they withheld it for.
Oh yeah. No, but, the rolling reserves are crazy on that side of things, but like it's even on the lead gen side too. People get not paid all the time or whatever it is. But the funny part is that if you're new, you don't realize that a lot of affiliate, as best as it can, is self-regulating in a way. So, for example, I keep looking up, and I know a lot of people have mentioned that on the previous calls and on the previous like podcasts and stuff, right? I have a monitor up here. Every time I'm looking up, it's because one of the affiliate advertisers who do not pay groups has a new message of someone that just got fucked. So literally I'm looking up and reading that and making sure that no one that is being mentioned is someone I'm doing business with or any of my friends to my knowledge. And that's why occasionally you'll see me randomly look to the side as I'm sending a message going, yo, just saw this. This guy just stiffed them for 40 G's. How much is your AR? Like that kind of stuff. But that after you've been a little bit higher up and after you've been in the industry a little bit, those are necessities like those. But here's the thing. Can you trust them?
Yeah. I mean, my business model's always been like, I'm going to get a Dun & Bradstreet reference. I'm going to get payment history references from people that they worked with for a period of time. I'm going to call those people to make sure that they legit, they pay their bills on time and everything else. And if those don't come back, if I can't get a D&B and I can't get a reference, then I'm like, okay, you got to prepay me, right? And if people go, I'm not going to prepay you, and I'm like, well, okay, in that case, we're not going to work.
Then we're not doing it.
I'm not prepared to take the risk on your business at this particular moment in time. And they go, well, I'm not prepared to take a risk on your business. I'm like, fine.
Sounds like it's not the right
somebody to kind of work with, but it won't be me. You know, and I think that's the biggest thing I would recommend to anyone that's kind of getting involved with media buying, right? Is sometimes you are the kind of person with the trump cards, you're holding the cards that, you know, that people people want rather than the other way around. It's like, don't let people treat you badly. Don't do this like whole net 45, net 90. Like for me, it's sort of so many people have set up and run their network on the residuals of people who were owed money but hadn't hit a threshold. I mean, every month when I had my affiliate
It is
network,
nuts.
every single month, regardless of whether people had earned $7, $7,000, like didn't matter. I paid every single person, every single penny, every single fortnightly,
Even
every
if
2
you got
weeks,
screwed.
right?
Yep.
Purely and simply because, right? One, if I cut them a check and sent it to them, that would remind them that we had a relationship, right? So they knew that they were in business. And sometimes people go, hey, I got a check for $50. This is great. What other offers have they got? And they would start to sort of spend more money. Whereas I think some people go, unless you spent $250 or earned $250, we're not going to pay you, right? And again, I mean, I used to do like quicker payment frequencies if people would sort of agree to commit to achieve a certain volume of sales on a weekly basis. So if it was like,
Oh yeah,
you do $1,000 a week for 4 weeks, I'll pay you every week, right? Yep. Otherwise, I'll pay you every month, right? And then that way they had an incentive to kind of send more traffic my way, right? And I had a kind of somebody that would, again, potentially commit more to me than they might be committing to other networks.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so just to point this out too, at this point, at least a couple people that are going to watch this are going to go, why do you guys keep talking about getting screwed? Are you doing something dirty? Is your traffic bad? Are you doing something shady? It has nothing to do with us. And that's the thing that is different here than others, is that with affiliate, if we run with a network and the network runs the traffic to an advertiser, let's say we're promoting Walmart, right? So we're promoting products for Walmart. Walmart doesn't know who we are. Walmart only knows who the network is that is working with them. So to us, we're an ID number. We might be 50, we might be 75, we might be that. But we also don't know if they're telling them who we are. So if someone else that we don't know, have never met and never worked with ever, and also will never know, ends up running fraud, Walmart might actually take that out on the network and say, you are not getting paid. That alone is an issue. Here's the bigger issue. When paying publishers, your risk tolerance is against your cash flow and against your AP and your AR. So when you're doing this, it's completely logical to have one advertiser pay, let's say, weekly, and then another one pay monthly net 15, right? But what happens when monthly net 15 is what you use to pay all the other stuff for the other offers, and those guys need to be paid up front first. So you literally take all of that and go, and then somehow you get screwed on that, and now 90% of your people are screwed. That can happen even if it's not your fault. But that is also why you need to work with people that you can trust, so that you can say, anything I need to worry about next 90 days, and they will actually be honest and be like, I don't think so, 10% chance. Cool. 10% I'm cool with. No worries. But they have to be honest. They have to be the guy that says 10 and you know they mean 10. It's not like, if I say it's 80, he's going to stop and then I don't get the money and then I can't pay the other pubs. That's what they have to worry about. So
that was always the thing. I mean, I always think as a code, the affiliate network model is like, I always said, like, my network, I'm there. My job is to protect the advertisers from the affiliates and the affiliates from the advertisers, and make a bit of money in between on the sort of the brokering, the balances between what I get paid and what I pay out, right? And I think that's the kind of challenge. I think a lot of people just assume that they're going to get paid for absolutely everything that they do. There's never going to be any kind of clawback, right? I mean, usually at the end of the month, right, there's a validation if you're doing lead generation. There's a quality control check that's done.
Return window. Yep.
And it's sort of like, again, people kind of say, oh, I earned this money, I'm expecting this money. It's like, yeah, but there may be some clawback here, right? I mean, there's no sort of guarantee that you're going to get paid for absolutely everything. And they're already sort of wondering what they're going to spend the money on. It's like, no, don't spend it until it kind of hits the bank, right? Because again, there could be some kickback. But sometimes if you've got leads that have gone in and the lazy salespeople just haven't picked them up and done anything with them, then they'll go, oh, these leads were very good quality, right? And then all of a sudden they're trying to turn it on you, right? Which is why I think on one of the previous episodes, you talked about listening to all the calls to make sure that you can actually check to make sure if there was anything untoward when it went through. Hey, I entered into a prize draw to win an iPhone, and that's the only reason that you have my details, and I'm not interested in what you say, right? That's not clearly those are the sorts of things you wouldn't want to be paid for because they're not legit, right? Whereas the ones that are legit, I don't want it to be, if there's a 7-day window between the lead coming in and the kind of payment closing, right? I don't want them to do like 3 weeks later go, oh, we're not going to pay for these ones. It's like, well, no, you had your chance to kind of claw them back. You didn't. So therefore you have to pay me for them. Even if
Oh yeah.
they are not legit, right? You still have
So
to pay me because I've paid the money out.
this is what I always love about returns is when returns happen, if you can estimate what they are without ever working with them just on the industry, then chances are they're using the exact same buyer you had previously, just at a different rate, or the industry as a whole is just doing it. So like insurance, when I was running insurance, we always had a return rate between 8 and 12%. It always started at 18% until I started calling my own leads and going, hey, did you talk to this agent? And they go, yes. And then I would record that, send it to my advertiser and go, so this is you talking to them? Why does the dispo say unreachable?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that I found out later that those agents were trained to do that. They were trained to cut it before the buffer and then literally call back and go, I'm so sorry, we got disconnected. And so I started brokering my calls through Twilio numbers. And I would get their callbacks when they would call back and try to close them. And I'd pick it up and be like, stop trying to screw me.
Yeah.
So like it happens all the time in all of these different things, because how are you going to prove it? Other than what I just did, which most people don't have the tech chops to do like ad hoc, but like that's stuff that if you just know you work with someone you trust, you're good. As long as you also know that that part of the transaction is under their control.
Yeah.
So if it's not, they can still get fucked by someone else.
Because again,
So
I mean, sometimes you'll have a, like on a let's say it's an inbound call, right? There'll be the IVR, there'll be 3 ads that they put forward, and then 58 seconds into a 65-second kind of payout, right? The call gets terminated, but they've still got their 3 ads out there with websites and phone numbers and whatever else. And it's just like, whoa, hang on a minute. Right.
Yeah, you're just like, what is happening? And then you have the affiliates also that run landers and they don't know why it's converting so little. And it's like you load it up on mobile and the top third of the page is a click to call link to their phone number that you don't get credit on. It's like
it's like when I used to run affiliate offers in like Nutra and things like that, right?
Yeah.
It would always be like you had the option with the networks that I was working with to either get paid a kind of like a one-off payment, or I could do a residual recurring CPA kind of based upon volume, right? And I always look at the types of offers. So some of the offers would be, let's say it was a acne skin cream or something like that, right? That's something that people are going to have to use probably indefinitely. So that was the sort of thing I would quite happily go on a sort of residual CPA, pay me every month, right? On the recurring subscriptions, because I would make far more money that way. Whereas some of them would be kind of more of a shifty thing. Let's say it was a weight loss product. People are either going to lose it, they're going to lose weight, right? Or they're not. And if they don't, they're going to stop it, right? So I would probably go, I'll take a higher payment up front and not do that one on a recurring, right? Whereas some of them I would do it. And I think that's where, as an affiliate, you need to kind of evaluate those sorts of scenarios in your mind before committing to run it. Because when you're buying traffic, right, you could sort of, again, you could break even on the initial kind of first purchase, right? Because you might say, I can get paid $40 for this now, right? Or I can get paid $100 as a one-off. So $40 per month recurring. So they have to kind of recur for 3 months and I'm in profit.
at least,
Right?
yeah.
So then it's a case of how much money can you afford to spend to acquire that initial sale, right? And again, if it's kind of like break even on that initial purchase, great, right? Because then when the second payment comes in, third payment, fourth, fifth, so on, you're not incurring any additional expenditure to acquire those residual sales coming in, right? And
Exactly.
and I've never understood why people don't think about the offers that they're running on that basis.
I'll tell you why. I can tell you exactly why. Because at a certain point, no matter what, you are always at the mercy of whether or not the company knows what they're doing. And what I mean by that is, let's say you sell to them on a CPC, right? Doesn't even matter if they convert. You just sell to them on a CPC. If it doesn't convert, they pause you. So let's say you run on a CPL. If you run on a CPL and they let you keep running, you would have made more on the rev share. But if you're running on the rev share and you're not making a lot, you could switch the CPL to make more, right? But when you switch to the CPL, they'll pause you. because your quality is not good to keep going. So no matter what you do, you need to realize that the only, and I forget who said this quote, but it's a great one, is the best deals are the ones where both sides believe that they both lost a little bit. And that's literally the case for this kind of stuff. And it's insane how other people don't like even calculate that when they talk about this. They're like, oh, so we'll get paid residual. Okay, cool. What's the average residual payment? Cool.
Yeah.
But they never ask what the max is. They know the minimum. The minimum's 0. It gets canceled, right? But no one ever knows the max. What's really fun is when you ask someone what the average retention on the rebill is, and they're like, oh, we have some people rebilling at 2 years. And you're like, that's amazing. What's the average? And they go 2 months. And you go, so that's like one person. Yeah. So like, that's the thing, is you need to know what to ask, because they will give you the answer to exactly what you ask. And it's not just affiliate, it's anything. But here's 2 very, very, very important things to remember. And these are the 2 things that apply regardless of channel, but they are for affiliate or promoting of offers in general. No matter what, you are always, always, always at the mercy of the person who is paying you. I'm not saying the person who converts. I'm saying the person who pays you. Because if someone else is the one paying them and they short them, you still get shorted. Hopefully not, but you might get shorted. But also they have no control. They cannot change the lander. They can't change compliance, which means if it's uncompliant and you didn't see it, you're still on the hook. So depending. But with all of that, you're still at that mercy. So the number one issue with a lot of that is not understanding what you're actually sending users to do and how they evaluate how they make their money. So if you get a bunch of people and they convert, but they don't actually follow up, you're screwed. But also if you work with an advertiser whose chase team really sucks, you're screwed. And it's no indication of your data. Good example. I work with a dead advertiser as a consultant. I bring him pubs that, let's say, pass my criteria. With the pubs I bring him, running to their competitors, the chase team alone doubles enrollment rate. Because they don't go, oh, you're not there, sorry. Like they actually know what they're doing. They actually know how to chase. So like with these guys, I have people going from other places with enrollment rates of like 5%. With them, it's 12. It's like Jesus. But then the second thing, and this is the other aspect of the industry as a whole, is if you are not the one that determines when a lead converts, whatever that might be, a lead, a sale, a CPC, whatever it might be, you are also not the one that determines when the pixel fires. And if you don't determine when the pixel fires, you don't know the information you're actually getting is accurate. Most people think I'm talking about shaving, and I'm not. And here's why. Buckets.
So explain what shaving is, by the way, Rob.
Oh, sorry. So shaving, for those that don't know, is, let's say I'm running Jim's offer and Jim is paying me $1 per lead. I send 100 leads. I only know I got 100 leads because Jim told me I got 100 leads. Jim could have told me I had 73 leads, and I would not be able to prove anything other way. Unless I'm collecting the data and then sending it to him through an API, and then he's going, I accept, then I have a paper trail. But just running, I don't. Again,
which is why a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to allow you to do host and post or anything like that, because they know that way they're not going to be able to kind of do something that.
How are they going to put their Facebook retargeting pixel on your host and post lead, Jim? Like that's what they do, is they literally just, oh, you didn't convert? Damn, our internal's doing great this month. Yeah. So it's that, right? But the other side is, and this is a concept, but I'm going to use buckets as the example because it applies to a lot. But the concept of a bucket is that they tell you you're going to get paid X a lead. But the reality is that none of these leads are ever going to actually pay that amount. So they let you accrue, just like water into a bucket, right? It's filling up. And then as soon as it hits the top, it tips. And when it tips, your post back fires and you get your attribution. Here's the problem. When you optimize on a pixel, so if you're Facebook click ID, if you're ad, anything, right? Even affiliate, just click ID. What happens when your lead that you're sending traffic to is a $50 lead and their advertiser backend has a $48 buyer? And then that's the first lead that goes into your bucket. And then they sell the next one to a $3 buyer. The bucket tips, and then you get told that that $3 lead is a $50 lead. Now imagine that you're auto-optimizing on a pixel. Now even imagine you're optimizing at all because your entire input data source is corrupted. You have no idea what you're doing. So I would much rather, in every way, take a rev share and know that that was a $3 lead. So I can go, I don't want those anymore. And then go to the other ones. Same thing with mail. Same thing with anything else. This is on the offer level. It is channel agnostic. But it's fun to find out that also SMBs do this. Not on the affiliate side, but even their internal stuff. They're like, if they check these 3 boxes, they're worth this. So let's tell Google Ads they're worth that. And then all of a sudden, they get a bunch of people that never convert because they never thought conversion metrics should go into that. Like it's nutty. But
it's like I've seen situations where AdSense publishers gamify their conversion. So they fire a non-existent lead to ensure that they get more traffic from Google AdSense, right, on the Google Display Network, right, by having a conversion rate that is actually not genuine, right? It's not a genuine 10% conversion rate because the 3 sort of conversions that took place are all bogus, right? So they have bots that will do that, fill in the forms, click the button.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Jim. I've never heard of these things at all. And they definitely are not used in this and 18 other industries full time. Yeah. And now the fun part is I get to say this. Those are your competitors. So have fun. Because that's the depth they go to get a 5-cent advantage over you. And that's who you're against. Remember, you're not competing with the only people advertising your product. You're competing with anyone that thinks that their product is a good fit for that person. You're competing over the impression slot, not the person and the impression slot.
Yeah, that was always the thing that the biggest red flag for me with some affiliates that wanted to run offers. Like if they kind of joined your network and then they go, I want to run XYZ offer, right? And you kind of look at it and basically they'd be running it somewhere else. They get kicked out, right? Because of fraud or whatever. And they just assume that because you got the offer that they can just pick things up where they left off with you, right? Because they think that affiliate networks don't talk to each other, which they do. They talk a lot, right? So if anyone has an offer, there'll be affiliates will go and try and sort of pimp their stuff.
We have shared Excel sheets of everyone that has ever fucked us going back 20 years. And we share that with private groups every day.
Yeah, like, people say, oh, you shouldn't call them out. And I'm like, absolutely, you should, right? I mean,
are you kidding me? Of course I'm going to call them out. I'm going to call them out by name. I'm going to give their address. I'm going to even show their signature on my freaking contract because they have breached everything. And if they've breached everything, then I'm not worried about anything because they just screwed me. But not only if they just screwed me, no worries. I'll be able to handle it. But now they potentially screwed every other publisher that I owe money from that advertiser, and that I can't do. Like, I'll take a hit, but now I'm taking a hit to then pay to then have them take hits? No, not going to happen. Especially when that's literally my job as a network is to buffer and protect. Like, that's literally what I do. Legal threat? No problem. Who's your pub? Not telling you. Don't care. You can take me to court. Don't care. But that's the people that have been around a while understand that. And they've been through a lot of this. And like, I'm talking a lot about legalities and stuff. Like, it's the edge case, but it does happen. But the main thing is it's just relationships. It's trust. And the reason I say that and what it all goes into is you need to be able to understand that when someone is telling you something, they're not blowing smoke or they're not telling you something else. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, your site's perfect to run our offer. Dude, I haven't even given you the link and no one at your company knows it. And I registered it yesterday. So let's not do this. Like but that's 9 out of 10 conversations I had.
I mean, I remember walking around on the trade show floor at Affiliate Summit, and this guy just literally jumps in front of me and says, we should be working together. And I'm like, why?
Nope.
Who are you? What do you do? Right. And he kind of build off this kind of like, this is what we do. This is who we work with. I'm like, well, that's not me at all. I don't do any of that stuff. Yeah, but you can do it. I'm like, but I don't do it. By all means, give me a card. I'll take one of your cards. But you know, to me, I got frustrated. I think the one thing I would say about trade shows. I mean, I used to do a lot more trade shows than I do now, and I think for me, part of the reason is I think there are so few businesses now that actually sit down in the cold, harsh light of day and do an analysis of what their return is for being there. Right, whether it's Even if
Oh
you
yeah.
even if you don't go and don't have an exhibit or don't have a
Mhm.
meat market table, whatever it might be, you will still have the kind of cost of people's
Flights,
time, the
hotels.
flights, the hotels, the drinks, the
Yeah.
whatever, and it'll run into a lot of money, right? And I would be, you need to be able to quantify that and go specifically, what do we get from this show, right? That was
Do you want to know why
incremental.
you don't see that more? Because the
Why?
companies that don't do that are out of business.
Yeah.
The companies that are still here, every single one that I've seen, like let's say 5 years, like over 5 years exhibiting, every single one has that exact spreadsheet. And I know that because we do.
Yeah.
It's like, but you're right. No one looks at it. They're like, it was good. We got business. And
But
it's like,
like I said, to me, there has to be an element of accountability. So again, if you're a
oh yeah.
salesperson, right, and you don't go back from the show with things that you're able to close, right,
Oh
then you
yeah.
absolutely rightly should be under pressure for not fulfilling your obligation of being there, right? And I think a lot of people go, they
100%.
go, they go wild, they go and get blind drunk, they wake up late, they don't get to the floor on time. You know, and no matter how blind drunk I've got, I've always been where I needed to be, when I needed to be, and in a fit state to be able to kind of conduct a meeting or whatever it might be, right? Whether that's just my durability, I don't know, but right, I've always been there to do what I needed to do, right? Which is one of the reasons. I mean, I always kind of give this to people as a bit of a tip or an advice, right? Don't fill your diary with appointments, right? Because I see people go, I've got 25 appointments today, right? And when they get to it, they kind of walk to an appointment. It might take them 10 minutes to walk to wherever they're going to meet the person for
Yep.
coffee. And that person's late, doesn't show up, then that means you miss that appointment. The following one kind of runs late. So they go, well, they didn't turn up on time, so they leave, right? So they end up with like literally none of the appointments that they had scheduled taking place, right? Or very few of them taking place, right? Whereas for me, I'd much rather kind of walk and talk with people and like you get more done that way, but I'm not committed to. I've seen myself like where people jump in and start talking to you in the corridors, and you want to go, look, I've got to go, I've got a meeting to go to, but you don't want to be rude. So it's very difficult, the challenge of trying to do that,
Oh yeah.
which is why I would never, right? It's one of the reasons why people always jokingly say, is the chandelier by your office? I'm like, yes, it is, because I don't need
100%.
to go anywhere. I don't have to walk anywhere. I don't have to take anything with me, right? People know where I'll be, right? And
Yep.
they'll come over. And if I'm in the middle of a meeting with somebody
They'll
and
just
somebody
tap your
comes
shoulder.
over to sit down, I'll be like, look, I'll be with you in a minute. I'll come and find
Yeah.
you when I'm done, right? That way they know that I'm actually in a meeting that isn't for everyone's general consumption, right? And that's always the way I've just done things.
And no, and I'm the same. So like at Affiliate Summit, I always get up really early, not after Affiliate Ball, because that's not going to happen. But like the day before, I'll get up and I'll go to that like little inlet right there with like the food and the drinks and all that. Because anyone that's been there before knows 1 hour later, those tables are completely done until about 9 p.m. You will never get a table. You will never get to sit. So I sit there and I schedule all my meetings for there. And then everyone usually just comes to me. But the main thing is, a quarter of them are going to miss their meetings anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care that they miss it. I care that they miss it and don't tell me until they've already missed it. And that is auto a DQ for me. I'm not doing business with you. At least let me know. Like it's just sorry, got held up in the hallway. It's a freaking convention, like no problem. But like the other thing is other people that come in and they see someone I'm talking to and they don't just like tap the shoulder and be like, whenever you're ready. Like if they do that, like the good people always do that. And then they'll like just go somewhere or whatever it is. And they'll let me wrap it up. Others will literally sit down and then they'll look at the guy they do not know and be like, what do you do? And I'll be like, what do you do besides hijack fucking meetings? Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about, dude?
That's the thing I've
So
always hated. When you're exhibiting, right, the last thing you want is somebody who is representing another show coming along trying to sell you a booth at their show, right? It's like,
oh yeah. It's
mate,
like,
I'm
why?
here to kind of
Why?
like sell my own shit. I don't need you to sell your shit to me, right?
Yeah. Like,
I
because
hated that.
all I think about is this. If that person's doing that, right? And remember, I am actively in conversations to work with this person. And this dude literally went, I want you to know this is your scheduled time. By the way, I see the irony of me not being ready for the scheduled time in this scenario, but they would be like, this is your scheduled time. I'm just going to hijack whatever you're doing right now. And we're just going to see what happens. And if he does that, what's he going to do when he talks to other people about the traffic he's seen me send? What's he going to do to other stuff? What's he going to do to this? And the best one I've ever had is one of my friends, Sean Hall. And I'm sure you at least know him a little bit. But yeah, Sean, great dude. My favorite ever was him walking up to one of our meetings and he tapped me on the shoulder and he goes, "Whenever you're ready." And he looked at the other guy and he just goes, "I'm seeing you later. Continue your conversation." And then just freaking walked away. And then I just literally turned around and he was like the dude, like in the middle of like the brush, trying to look at like a random like animal, literally like 40 feet behind me in a corner. He's just looking, waiting. He's just like, "Oh, whenever he's ready, it's my time." And literally, as soon as it wrapped, he came over and I literally was like, "There's actually something with him that you might want to jump in on." He was like, "Oh," and he's like, "James." And then he brought him right back and we all had the conversation there.
Yeah.
That's the good way of doing it. The bad way is just inserting yourself. Cause like in affiliate, that's my upside, my connections, but the people I work with, my trust. If you could just take all my pubs, I have no business as a network unless I have something exclusive that they can't get through you.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a lot to it, but it's really just have a good time, talk to people. People will say a lot more about the stuff they work on once they know you're a real person and you're an actual person that had enough money to at least get to a conference about something where a lot of people are self-employed. We all eat what we kill. And that's all it is. Like the fact that they're there is enough for me. I'll give you the time.
And
I'll
the
talk to
one
you
thing
for
I would
free.
say is if you are an affiliate, a lot of people go, "Oh, I can't really kind of afford to go." You need to kind of like find a way to make it affordable for you to do that, right? Because honestly, like it will incrementally add so much value to your relationships with the people that you're working with and find new people to work with. That in some respects, if you're an affiliate going to an event like that, you get so much more value than maybe a network would or
Oh yeah.
an agency,
It's
because like the agency, like I said, agencies and networks, they're usually working with people that they already know, right? They're meeting people they already know. They may go and again, I always used to kind of tell the story of when I was working back in the day, doing a lot of stuff. Like we would go to an affiliate summit. I would get all of my affiliates, and at the time, the majority of them were like men between the ages of probably 23 and 28. And it'd be like, "Right, so guys, we're going to go out tonight. We can either go and see Celine Dion. We can go and get a nice meal. We can get a table at a club, or we can go to a strip club," and then all go strip club, right? And I'm like, "Oh God, do I have to go to
yeah.
a strip club?" But
As far as
again, I would go because that's what the consensus of what they wanted to do was, right?
yeah.
And again, I almost felt like doing it at the time. Now I can sort of say it because I'm not running a network, but it's like ultimately everything that we did, whether it was strip club, going table at a club, right, a meal or shooting or whatever it was, they were
Whatever.
paying for it. Right? Ultimately, they were paying for it by virtue of the fact that I was taking the money out of the margins that I was getting, right, to basically pay for the things that I was paying for, right? But that basically meant it was money that they could have had that I was keeping to enable me to entertain them and everything else, right? But it's again,
Exactly.
these are the sorts of things that they probably wouldn't do themselves, right? Or maybe some of them would. I
Yep.
don't know, right? But I always think it's kind of like you're paying for things that money really can't buy, and it's not sort of things that they would necessarily spend money on
Oh
themselves.
yeah. And again, it's all the relationships. They remember that. They remember the good times and the fact you did it. And you weren't just talking to them about payouts and return rates and all this other BS that they're going to hear 19 billion other times. And you're also not trying to just drop money on them at random in random places. You actually want to be with people that you enjoy being with. That to me is the dream. The ability to make money with people I don't freaking despise having to talk to all the damn time. Like that to me is amazing.
Yeah, and
So
I think the
it's
thing I'm kind of like finding getting great joy from, right? I mean, like at the time, in the early stages of the industry, there was not that many women involved in the industry. Now there's a lot
yep.
more, and I love the fact that there is.
Yes.
You know, but it's kind of like then put a different perspective on the strip clubs and the bottle service and everything else. And for me, I'm loving that fact, right? I mean, again, I can't even
Yep.
remember the last time I went to a strip club with any affiliates to
Oh
entertain. It's a
yeah.
long time ago, and I have never have to go back because to me, I just find the whole thing a bit denigrating and don't really like it.
Yeah,
Not a fan of it.
and that's the thing. Like it really, I'm cool to go with whatever people want to do within reason. Like, but back then also, at least in my mind, back then that was a lot more standard for industry style events back then.
Yeah.
Now, definitely not. And I don't say definitely not as in it doesn't happen. It definitely does. But it's not like back in the day, we used to put 300 people into a strip club and be like, it's an event. And we would have it for like an hour. Like everything's cool. But Again, it's you hanging out with friends that happen to occasionally talk about business with X, Y, and Z. Whatever makes people comfortable to do that, whatever, you pick your poison.
I
But
think I
whatever
remember
makes
going
you
to
comfortable.
a party once where I think a network had organized a party at a private sort of villa with a pool and everything. And we all piled onto a minibus to go from, I think, the Rio to this party, right?
Mhm.
And there was genuine hookers upstairs, right? And there was a queue of affiliates stood outside the door. I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here, right? I just couldn't
It's
get
just
away from there
no.
quick enough.
Yeah, no thanks. No, that's for other people. They can do whatever they want to do. I'll stay over here and not have a problem sleeping. But yeah, no, and again, it's up to different people. And I always tell people I will never, ever, ever complain if you say you don't want to go somewhere. It is your freaking life, dude, and it is or it's what you're comfortable with. My job is not to make you uber freaking happy. My job is to help you not have the downsides of dealing with X, Y, and Z on business. But now that we're together at an event, I would be dumb to at least not try to help you not screw yourself with something. Like it wouldn't help. So like doing all this, if you want to be happy and go somewhere, sure. Like if I don't want to go, I'll pay for it. You can go. Like whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't have to be there for the effect to still be there. And that's my whole thing. So yeah, like even when I was running my network and everything, I had some guys, they were like, my main selling strip club. And I'm like, all right, all you go. Like that's fine. I'll be over here. But like my main thing is always just chill, drink coffee at the table. And I know a lot of people. So they walk by, I see them and they come and they sit and they chill and we
I
talk
always
about
I
stuff.
always tell this funny story. So one of the last times I went to a strip club, like I realized that the best way of not getting kind of pounced upon was to not be sort of sitting at one of the booths, right? So I found that there was some seats at the bar, right? I thought I'm going to sit on a stool at the bar, and then that way I'll get less harassed than I would do if I was sitting in a booth, right? Again, I've got like various people in, like I'm getting dances for people all over the place because they're my affiliates and I'm just looking after them. But I'm sitting at the bar just minding my own business. And this girl comes over, she goes, oh, I'm really, really hungry. And I said to the guy, Jake, do you have any food here? So this guy gives me a menu and she has a look and she orders like a portion of chicken dippers, right? I think it was like $8 for a portion of chicken dippers. So for the next 45 minutes, this girl is sitting talking to me. And again, I like talking to the people that work in these places to find out what the story is, because there's always a story. I mean, it's not
Oh,
always
always.
a kind of a shady, dubious story. Sometimes they're girls that know they've got a limited shelf life kind of being there. They're not going to do it for forever. And again, I always treat them with respect, right? Because I think that's the best way to kind of do it. But I'm sort of sitting there talking to them, thinking, so I sat for 45 minutes in a strip club, not being harassed, while I watched this girl eat a portion of chicken dippers for $8. The best ROI I've ever had, ever.
No one would ever believe that story ever. It's like it's just it wouldn't make, but then again, I can say that about a lot of affiliate summit
Yeah.
stories in general. But yeah, I
I
mean, I
remember, I
think
remember, I remember another one of my affiliates. I think there was a company called Vistaprint, right? And they
yep.
used to kind of like you could get, I think, 200 business cards for like $5 or something like that. And on the back, it had made by Vistaprint.
This
So he
print, yep.
he basically turned up to Spearmint Rhinos in Vegas, right? And he said, right, that his card had his name on it. It said executive producer, and he had the MTV logo on his card, right? And he said he was
Oh,
recruiting girls for like
oh
to
God.
take part in, I think, a 50 Cent video or something like that, right? So he was
Mm,
like doing some recruitment and they kind of rolled out the red carpet. I'm thinking if they'd have flipped the card over and seen made by
dude.
Vistaprint, they'd have thrown him in a dumpster, right?
Oh, dude. And the
But
funny
sometimes,
thing
again,
is,
sometimes I like the creativity that affiliates kind of can go to kind of do that sort of thing. I thought
oh
it was like
yeah,
classic.
that that's why affiliates can usually outperform most brand buyers. Like
Yeah.
it's because we have to. Like if we
The
don't,
lateral
we don't make
thinkers.
money. Yeah, like it's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, it's all about just figuring out who you like to work with and what you want to work in. And as long as you do that, I don't care what channel it is. I don't care what it is. Just help me find what I'm looking for. If it's people that want to install an HVAC system, it's people that want to install HVAC. If they want to refi, they want to refi. Sometimes I just want people that are looking for something. Maybe they don't even need to buy. But if you don't know the difference in your traffic, you're gonna lose money.
Because
And
that's
that's
always
the
the thing. I
big
mean,
thing.
when I used to run like payday loans, right? What became really apparent to me was that people didn't want a payday loan. They wanted to buy groceries or they wanted to buy birthday presents for their children. That's what they wanted the money for. It wasn't, they didn't want a loan. They wanted the things that the loan would give them. Right. So we used to kind of like then think differently about it. And people go, well, the payday loans are really shady. It's like, well, yeah, but it's got to be better than having a guy in a baseball bat with a baseball bat turning out to kneecap somebody for not paying a debt that they got from some debt collector.
Well, think about it this way. Why wouldn't I want to help someone that doesn't have a lot of money get free food?
Yeah.
Like I would mail them DoorDash and Uber. And don't get me wrong, it's expensive, but they start you with free stuff. And it's usually enough to get a free meal or two. And there's no commit after that. Yeah. So like, I used to be there and be like, listen, I understand you're going through some stuff here. And I used to spell it out, like actually in the email. I'd be like, listen, I'm the guy that sends you the email for X, Y, and Z. I know that you have no idea who we are at all. But here is $20 for free promo from DoorDash. We got as a part of our marketing company, and we just wanted to extend it to you. It's not incentivized. I'm not asking for conversions. I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. And it legitimately does help the individual. It is a win-win for me. Like I am completely fine with that. And it's about stuff like that. When you can actually find something that makes money and also helps people, that's your win. That's your,
and for me, I think in the affiliate industry, if there's one thing I wish the industry did more of, is that sort of thing, philanthropic stuff where they're adding value to people that maybe not in the same position that they're in, right? I don't get impressed by people that can do bottle service, that can kind of walk around in $300 jeans or anything like that. I like the people that have paid for other people to come to the show who couldn't afford a ticket. They paid for their flight, they paid for their hotel, they paid for their ticket to get in, right? To help them kind of get on in the industry. I love people that are philanthropic, will help other people to kind of get on, right? Because we all were there at the beginning, right? We all had to start somewhere, right? And some people have been very fortuitous to get to where they are. And I think the ones that kind of give back are the ones that I love the most.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'll make this my last point because I know we're running over. But the other main thing too is if you're working with them, it would be nice to just do not your due diligence. Like you don't need to deep dive on someone, but like occasionally you find something that you did not expect in a good way. Like one company we were working with, the guy I was working with, VP, he just didn't seem logical. Like there was something in his head that was just like, no matter what, I cannot do business here. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. So I just look at the CEO's like LinkedIn or whatever. And I looked down and I was just like, he's a mentor with SCORE. And SCORE is like a small business association in the US, but you can get free mentorship from people that have basically been there, done that, and are like, I'm retired now. I like mentoring people. And I saw it and I was like, this doesn't make sense. Him being like that does not jive with someone who is like actually trying to help people for free with X, Y, and Z. I was like, maybe it's just for show. So I actually reached out to him and I put SCORE in the subject line. And he was like, no, it's legit. I actually do that. And I was like, oh, great. He's like, why? Just wondering, because like I saw your name in our CRM, but I haven't heard any updates. What's going on? And we found out that it was literally that guy, just like there was something about our deal he didn't like, or it made him look bad or something. Yeah. And the CEO was just like, oh yeah, like my bad. Let me look into this real quick. Like the biggest thing there is not that I jumped over and asked him to look down on it. The biggest thing there is that in my mind, he went from I shouldn't work with him to maybe it was a mistake. And that wouldn't have happened without doing that lookup. So you need to know who you're getting into bed with, because those are the people that are going to pay you or you pay them. And either way, you are now linked to them financially. You are married by money. So you need to know. Some people just sign contracts.
My parting gift, if you like. So I have so many friends in the industry that directly together, we've never made $1, right? But I probably referred hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars their way, right? I've got nothing back in return other than I know I've done a good thing, right? And I'm cool with that, right? And similarly, I've had people that will go, you need to talk to Jim, and people have come to me. And again, I've offered to kind of do things for people. No, it's fine, it's good. And those are the sorts of reciprocal arrangements I love kind of having, right? And
the two-way street.
Sort of things that I think you really need to try and go, not just look at it as what's in it for me, like what's in it for all of us as kind of a collective, because the bigger the industry is as a collective, the more powerful it'll be kind of as we move forward.
And I actually have one really good quote to tie all that together. So I'm going to end with that actually. And that is, you need to stop thinking about it's me versus everyone and start thinking about it's us versus them. Because just because you're not working with them, you're not on paper as their partner, you're not here with that or whatever it is, doesn't mean their information doesn't benefit you, and vice versa. It doesn't hurt you to give it to them, and it doesn't hurt them to give it to you. And if you are working together, even as competitors, then you have the mutual enemy of the people you're going after anyway. So make friends, make them often, but also trust, but verify, and make sure that it is good for you forward. But these guys, I had 4 people in my wedding, and 3 of them were from the industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like,
That's the best way I can describe like the melding of the business and personal side.
I
Like
always find whenever
for
I
me,
travel
it's the same.
to Vegas, I've been to Vegas probably like 50 times, right? And people always say to me, "You going there for business or pleasure?" And I'm like, what's the difference, right? Because
Yes.
for me, my business is my pleasure. It's like I kind of have great friends in the industry, travel all over the world to see them, hang out with them, experience things together. And for me, that's part of kind of what it is. It's not a case of, well, I'll only go and talk to that person if I can make some money from them, because that's not really kind of what I'm about. And it's only
It's not what it's for. It's not what the industry is for, even though it looks exactly like what it's for, but it's not what it's for.
so. Rob, this has
But
been a
yeah,
good episode. I'm glad we kind of got to talk. And
yeah, definitely.
so anyone
Let's
that's kind of listening in, if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that, because we love it. It'll be on here somewhere, as Rob said, pointing down below. Make sure you kind of do that. Tell your friends about it. The industry is bigger and better with your involvement in it and helping sharing the love by helping spread our kind of words of wisdom to as many people as you can. Take care.
Every time you share one of our podcasts, it saves 1,000 people from me cold emailing it to them. So please share, like, share, and share often. But I hope you all have a great week.
Okay. Bye for now.
See ya.
Cool.